Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your host, Jerry, along with my co-host, X and Bone Santana. And today we got a special episode. We got our guest here with us, the legendary Danny P. Perez, part of the Raw Fantasy Sports Organization. And we'll be discussing the top 50 wide receivers today for your fantasy football league. We got starters, we got second tier wide receivers, and we got sleepers to discuss, guys. So without further ado, Bones, you got the first pick, man.
All right, I'm gonna cut straight to it. That's what he does. Rams, Cooper Kupp. That's right. This man had 145 receptions last year. 145. Now I don't think he's gonna see 140. He's gonna see a drop in that, especially with Allen Robinson coming into the fold. But you can't argue with 1,900 receiving yards, 16 touchdowns to lead the league. That's the number one option right there. Expect something similar to that. I want to say 12 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 110 receptions.
I definitely see that coming up because Cooper Kupp, top tier, top-notch guy. I mean, he's a hands down, man. Whoever picks him is definitely going to have an advantage in their fantasy league. He was just a PPR monster, any type of league monster. You know what I mean? A lot of touchdowns, a lot of receiving yards. I don't really see the Rams slowing down any bit. So, for that reason, he's a top tier pick, man. I can't even disagree there.
No, mind you, last year, actually, Matthew Stafford, it was his first year playing with the Rams. So, it's only, even though he had a crazy year last year, that it was
right.
Unbelievable, and still his first year playing with the Matthew Stafford. So you never know.
Yeah, he's proved that a receiver will never win MVP ever.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mind you, so as far as total fantasy points, he had, I believe I'm looking at a PPR. He had 439 fantasy points. The next person was Deebo Samuels with 344. With 344. So mind you, that differential, huge. And he still didn't win MVP. Crazy.
Biased voters.
It's a QB's league.
Yeah, it's a QB's league. It's really who's the best quarterback at this point. Because even when Adrian Peterson won it, he had to have an outrageous season to even get considered.
Yeah. Damn shame.
But yeah, that's cool. Everybody got Kupp first pick. I think the second pick as well would probably be unanimous. I would take Justin Jefferson from Minnesota. I think he's going to get the bulk of those targets.
All right.
I like Adam Thielen a lot as a secondary cuff that you can get for late. But as far as second pick overall and regarding receivers, I'm taking Justin Jefferson by far. LSU product. He's proven. I think last year was the first year that he took that step as a leader in that locker room or in that wide receiver room. And, he's filling in greatly.
Hell yeah. Man put up 1,600 yards. Baller. He's number one now. Took the reins over Adam Thielen.
Yeah, I really like Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to do big things out there. He's going to remain consistent. Not really much to say about him. I think he's going to be a good pickup during the fantasy draft. And, got to keep it moving.
Yeah, the value's there.
Facts.
All right, so I got Stephon Diggs. I know that last year, he didn't really have those boom, type of games that he had the year before. But, as long as you're with Josh Allen, actually, they recently lost Cole Beasley. I saw that he's still a free agent, and also Emmanuel Sanders, both of them. So I know a lot of people right now, they're super high on Gabriel Davis. Me, I think the person there is solely Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna be honest. Everyone's super high on that Gabriel Davis. 4 touchdown performance, but I think the man there is Stephon Diggs, and that's my number 3 pick.
Yeah,
and I would even go over like Jamar Chase. There's a lot of speculation over Jamar Chase. Because last year, once again, he had a big year, but everyone's sleeping on Stephon Diggs, and I really see him taking that. He has a possibility of even being number 2, number 1. So I'm really super high on him.
Yeah, he could have an Antonio Brown type of year, like when he was with the Steelers.
Exactly.
Yeah, he could have one of those years. I agree. I do like that pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can't go wrong with 100. for my next pick, I'm gonna have to go with Devontae Adams. You know, you guys know I'm real high. I'm real high on Vegas this year. They're gonna be one of the biggest teams out in the West. And now that is a change of scenery for Devontae Adams. He no longer has A-Rod behind him, but he has Derek Carr. And I think he's gonna put up all the fucking stats out there in Vegas, baby. He came in second in touches, third in receiving yards, and fifth in I believe it was fifth in touchdowns. So I think he's gonna have more touchdowns, definitely more receptions, and you know, those yards are gonna be closer to Cooper Kupp, you know, than anything before. I see Vegas, you know, blasting out of the stratosphere, bro.
Yo, and let me ask you this, Jerry. You also got different options, man. You know, I'm bringing up Stephon Diggs that, you know, as I mentioned, I'm not too high on Gabriel Davis, but there you have Darren Waller. And then you also have Hunter Renfrow. You know, that little chemistry that they had, man, that was really, you know, it was fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie. That doesn't worry you?
I still believe that that's there. However, I have a lot of concern about Waller's ability to stay healthy.
That's true.
So I firmly believe he's going to be fully healthy for a good 10 games this season. But I do see him missing a couple of games later down the road, especially when the season gets tough and they're all banged up. Yeah. And Renfro's going to come in and pick up the slack for everybody. You know what I mean? He's that type of player. He's going to come up and he's going to clean up. He's going to clean up on the stats that Devontae doesn't get, stats that Josh Jacobs doesn't get, stats that, you know, Darren Waller doesn't get. So I think he's in a great position, man. Maybe he's not going to put up the same fantasy numbers as he did last year because Devontae is a huge shadow, you know?
Yeah.
But he's going to get his touches, man. He's going to get his stats regardless.
No, I think there's still a passing team. We know Josh Jacobs is not the happiest of players. He wants to get that contract. I think Josh Jacobs might even get traded. Whether he does or not, they're still going to pass the ball a large share of the time. I think there's enough targets for Waller. There's enough targets for Adams. I think Renfro's the one that has to worry. So I would take Adams first round.
And also mind you, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams did play together in college, so they still have that chemistry. You know, I'm pretty sure they do. So
they trained every offseason, and you know, whenever they have Thanksgiving or something that they're in the same town, they're probably pulling up and they throw the ball.
Of course.
So, you know, I like that pick as well.
Good pick.
That pick is nice. So this was a tough one for me, but this guy can do it all in both categories. So I'm going with 49ers, Deebo Samuel.
Ooh,
now, wide receiver wise, you know, this man can do it all. He can break the first, you know, like the first and second tackle, gets a lot of yak, but his rushing. Let's talk about his rushing now. If you're in a PPR league or any other type of league, he's putting up 1,000 receiving yards easy with 6 receiving touchdowns, but he had 8 rushing touchdowns with 59 attempts last year. So that's only going to increase more and more. And the offense that they're going to run now.
How many attempts?
59 rushing attempts for 365 yards, 8 TDs, more than receiving. So if you add that up, that's 14. So this man pretty much, you know, he is the offense. Now that, you know, they lost a couple pieces out there in San Fran, you know, their offense is going to rely just more on him now. So you can't go wrong with this guy. Production-wise, he's going to blow it off through the roof almost every week. I can probably recall maybe 2-3 weeks where he put up average points instead of like the mega numbers that he would normally put up.
Yeah, he was a big surprise last year. And the way it's incredible the way that they utilize him. You know, like they utilize him in crazy ways. You know, it's you know, he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think that number of rushes is going to go down. I don't think he has anywhere near
with Trey Lance.
Yeah, with Trey Lance there, they're going to run the ball a lot more with after the emergence of Elijah Mitchell. I think he's going to really solidify that RB1, which they really didn't have in the first half of last year. That's why Deebo had so many games with, you know, more than 7 carries or 10 carries or something. But I think he'll have around 20 carries max. I don't think he's going to get 70 carries. That's not what he's there for. He's going to get the ball in different situations. They might throw him in reverse options, but I think that's too many rushes for him. I think, you know, he got paid. He got that contract now. I think he'll be looking to play that wide receiver role with Trey Lance.
He got that bag. Facts.
Yeah, he's going to try to develop more chemistry with Trey Lance instead of running the ball, in my opinion. We know Kyle Shanahan runs those plays. He'll use them in different formations. He's that Swiss Army knife on that offense, but, you know, I'll take him getting more catches than rushes at this point.
Regardless, he's going to put up those stats week in and week out. He's going to get the ball. He's going to see at least not 20 targets, but 20 touches overall minimum. Whether it be a couple running plays, but the majority is going to go through the air. Still can't go wrong with that guy.
Right. All right. With the next pick, without further ado, I take Jamar Chase. I think he's a top 5 in the league. I think the emergence of Joe Burrow is really going to allow him to become one of the best receivers in the NFL. I think Chase is going to take that step. He'll get 150 targets easily if he stays healthy, of course. I think he'll have over 110, 120 catches. He could be, he's a solidified top 10 pick, running backs or receivers. So I think he's that next guy in the list.
Yo,
13 touchdowns. Hell yeah.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Think about last year during the preseason. I think he had 2 drops, and everybody was talking shit about him, saying like, oh, this guy can't catch this and that. It's incredible how he took that and he just ran away with it. It's like, who the hell? I think he was going at like the 3rd round, 4th round last year, and this guy ended up being top 10 for sure.
Last year.
He was 5th overall in PPR. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm very big on Jamar Chase as well, man. I think Joe Burrito is gonna do some work for a long time, man. He put crazy ass stats last year, so I expect the same this year as well. I think the Bengals are definitely gonna go far this year, man. So I expect to see more of the same.
They're so fun to watch, man. That team is just so fun and young. That's gonna be
young,
the future.
So young, bro. So young.
Yeah. They're stacked with targets and they have great contracts working out for them. Like,
everything.
When Boyd is done, I think they're gonna pay Chase, they're gonna pay Higgins, they might keep everybody. We know this.
Bro, Cincinnati, they better pay everybody, man. If not, it's back to the frozen land of no playoffs whatsoever.
Man, straight up, it really kills me. As a person that I've been playing fantasy football for, I want to say 13 years, and I can promise you, I don't think I've ever drafted a Dolphins player, and it kills me and it hurts me. As a person living here in Miami, it's like going to the games. I'm actually excited for one time. It's like Tyreek Hill, man. This guy. I wouldn't say that I'm drafting him. I wouldn't say that I'm drafting him because of Tua. At this point, I'm just drafting talent itself. And I think Tyreek Hill is a player that, I'm not saying Tua is not the guy, but I think that Tyreek Hill can just, perform anywhere. And before with Kansas City, I want to say like 2 years ago, everyone just thought that he was, a deep threat. Over the last couple of years, he's shown that he's not only a deep threat. Actually, last year, he actually had 110 receiving receptions. So that shows I believe he was top 5 in actual receptions caught. So that just shows, that he has a floor. And I think he could run away with it. Tyreek Hill, this is my first time that I'm going to be drafting Miami Dolphins wide receivers. And it's sad to say, but let's see.
He's a cheat code, bro. Look,
we still got to see what Tua can do with him, man.
Oh, I saw a play with Mike Daniel. He had him in motion. And he just breaks out of the hike and just runs straight up, and it looks great. And this, it's a play that fits him. It's a formation that I think he's going to play around with him. And after seeing a few preseason type of plays at what he's running, I'm kind of excited more than I was even last week. Just seeing how he's using him as putting him in the slot, having him go across the line. I'm excited too as a player who's never drafted a Dolphins player, as a fantasy player who's never drafted a fantasy.
Yo, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think players, for example, like someone like Devontae Adams, someone like Tyreek Hill, that they come from these systems and like quarterbacks? Do you think these players kind of give that input to their coach and be like, hey, let me just do something quick, make it simple, and I'm pretty sure they and the fact that they're stars like that, they can actually, tell these coaches like, hey, I want to do it this way. They have that word that they can be doing that.
That's exactly what they do. For example, out of those 2 guys that you mentioned, Tyreek Hill actually came out and confirmed, around OTAs and training camp. He said that one of the main reasons why, he rolled out of KC was because that they weren't willing to make certain packages around him when he
around him.
Exactly. He's a star, he's a talent. Where Andy Reid was like, no, is Patrick Mahomes
That's
show,
true.
right? And we go based off what like his strengths. Whereas he was like, okay, I wanted to be centered a little bit more around his talents. And he said that McDaniel has him in a Debo-like role, and he preferred not to, describe what they were practicing because he wants to surprise out in the season.
Exactly.
And that's the high reward that you run in here. Yes, Tua has proven or shown himself that he can be up there among the QBs. So there's a risk in this pick, but it's also high reward. And I think you're right in the ball with that. Man. You can't go wrong with Tyreek Hill. He's a cheat code, bro. This man runs a 4.1.
He is.
It's unheard of.
Watching him is like play Madden.
And he has a 41-inch vert. He can moss you and run by you.
Yeah. He's one of the fastest players for sure. I remember I would take Tyreek 4th round, and then last year I think I took Tyreek 4th pick overall.
Overall, man, it's incredible.
I took him 4th pick. But yeah, that was me last year.
And it's not something you regret or anything. Like you're just like, yo, I have Tyreek Hill on my team. That's it.
All right, guys. So moving forward, my next pick, I gotta go with my favorite team in the NFL, baby. My longtime Eagles. I'm gonna pick AJ Brown. He's the brand new star out there. I think he's due for a breakout season. He kind of had Julio Jones in his way last year. And let's be real, he had Ryan Tannehill back there. Speaking of Dolphins players, I drafted him a couple of years ago. I might have taken it 1 year from you, Danny. I'm a long-term Tannehill believer, but they're probably going to keep him on a short leash this year. So I'm rooting for A.J. Brown, man. He's the top dog out in Philly, WR1 on the team. And whatever you saw last year might be duplicated, in no time. 63 receptions, 869 yards and 5 touchdowns, being the number 2 receiver out in Tennessee. And with Jalen Hurts, making him the top receiver out there, he's going to get his stats up, man, all day and night. Him and, Devonta Smith are definitely going to put up some work out there, man. So I'm really happy to see him out there. And I'm hoping for T.O.-like numbers out there.
As much as I like that pick, I like A.J. Brown going to Philly. But I just really think Hurts could be he could take a step himself as a player.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Hurts throw 100 receptions to any player to take this guy this high. I like him, but I don't like him that high. I think Hurts is going to be running the ball a lot. He's going to be up there I don't want to say he's going to be MVP, but I think he's going to play like a diet Lamar. I see him running the ball a lot, green options. But I don't see him slinging the rock.
Yo, and I'm curious to know where do you guys have Jalen Hurts as far as your top quarterbacks? Because this guy, mind you, last year in one of my leagues, I had both Patrick Mahomes and I had Jalen Hurts. And guess what I did? I traded Patty Mahomes. You know why? Because Jalen Hurts, he was so damn consistent. Like he would put up 20, 25. He has that rushing up, floor. He has that rushing floor. So I'm just curious to know where you guys had him.
He's up there. He's in the top 15 for us, easy. Because he is going to run that RPO type of offense where the ball is always going to be on his hands. So I also see why Jerry would go high on this guy because AJ Brown can only benefit off of you. So it really truly depends how they run the offense out there in Philly.
Yeah.
I think it's a brand new year, man. We're not even talking about the same team. Jalen Hurts didn't even have a receiving core last year. He threw under 20 touchdowns. He had under 10 picks, and he still managed to get the Eagles to the playoffs. And, I'm a tough Philly critic, just like every fan out there. When Philly's not doing good, they're doing bad. And, we got to make some fixes. So today, even Arciaga Whiteside got off the team today. They traded him for peanuts, basically. So we're trying to weed out all the bad players, put in all the good players. And you got a point with Jalen Hurts' run game. But now he has receivers to throw the ball to. So we're going to see his numbers increase. I'm hoping that he throws between 25 and 30 touchdowns and, perhaps break 4,000 yards. But A.J. Brown, I see him 1,500 yards, perhaps, maybe 80 to 90 touches. And I want to see a good 10 touchdowns out of him,
And think about it. He's a big body. That guy's a big dude,
He's like DK. He's another damn DK.
He's another DK, straight up.
Yeah,
he really is.
But speaking about big bodies, let's go on to the next pick. 9 right here. I got Chargers and an offense that we already know is balling out. Keenan Allen.
Ooh, I like Keenan Allen. He did work for me last year. That's a good
Keenan
pick.
Allen, as we already know, wide receiver one out there for the Chargers. For the young bull, we got Justin Herbert, who's only going to get better. And Keenan Allen is one of the best route runners in the league. Last year he had 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. I want to say he's going to put up similar stats, this year around, which is top 10 production. Can't go wrong right here at number 9 with Keenan Allen.
Good pick, man.
It's a great pick, man. Keenan Allen, I think with having Justin Herbert, the Chargers are set to do big things this year. I really think, he's going to get the ball a lot. And if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a top 5 receiver.
Easy. Yeah, that guy's definitely there.
I like that pick. I do love that pick. I think Herbert could be up for MVP this year. We're talking about a player that's going to be throwing the rock a lot. He's going to be throwing a lot more than he's running. So I like Allen a lot. I like Mike Williams a lot as well. So we'll look out for one of the better duos in the NFL.
Yeah.
Another missed opportunity for the Dolphins. Justin I'm kidding, Bones. I'm kidding.
Let's talk about
we got Alabama Tua coming up. I don't want to hear it.
Let's see it, bro.
The Tua over Justin Herbert. That was a bad one, but we'll see what happens this year.
Not as bad as your next pick, X. Go.
But the next pick, with further ado, I'll take CeeDee Lamb. I think he'll get the ball a lot more this year. I think he's one of those players. He could get 150 targets. He could move on over 80, 90 catches. And he could be that next receiver to make a leap, as the top 10 receiver in the NFL, especially with Dak throwing the rock. We know Amari Cooper departed. We know Zeke is getting older in his career. So I think, as they look to move the ball more, I think CeeDee is going to solidify himself as a top 10 pick and, rack up some points this year. Get some deep threats.
So for my next pick, I'm going to take so a little backstory about me. I kind of do I'm a person that I like multiple teams. I consider myself more of like a favorite player kind of person. So I was a Russell Wilson fan, which led me to becoming a Seattle Seahawks fan. But originally I was a Denver Broncos fan. So the fact that I was a Seattle Seahawks fan with Russell Wilson and he's coming back to the Broncos, I'm going back to the Broncos. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. So
this is a man that has multiple barbers. I know it.
No, I don't cheat on my barber. So I'm gonna take Cortland Sutton. This man,
hot take.
This man,
hot
he
pick.
had, if I'm not mistaken, let me give you some information. Hold on. Shit.
This man has the Wilson now throwing to him. Okay, all right, I see that.
Yeah, he could be in for a big season right now.
You high on Sutton. I see that. Yeah, he's definitely going to produce though.
Yeah. So this man had 90+ targets last year, and I'm pretty sure he did not play the entire game, the entire season. He did not play the entire season. He was he was dealing with injuries, and he still managed to get 90+ targets with a bunch of nobodies as quarterbacks. And he also had only 2 touchdowns last year. This man I understand that Jerry Jeudy, he is a good player. He was also not playing last year and this and that, but I think Cortland Sutton, the talent has always been there, and I think he's the one that's going to just run away with it. And at the end of the day, Russell Wilson is a person. He is a quarterback that can feed to multiple receivers. Mind you, Tyler Lockett had boomer bust type games, but those boom games were huge. And DK Metcalf was just so consistent at one point, so I think Cortland Sutton can be a great wide receiver this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's going to see the second best corner week in, week out because corner one is going to be on Jeudy. So I definitely, and Russell Wilson can put the ball right when he wants to. Good quarterback. He's gonna, he's in Denver, so he's gonna have like a little pep in the step, a little energy. So
yeah, man.
High ceiling.
Denver is gonna be
ceiling.
Denver is gonna be a nice team, man. That entire AFC
West,
the AFC West is gonna be crazy. The amount of talent that there is there.
There's certain bets with now, you have 7 teams that can make the wild card at least. So now you have 7 teams that can potentially reach the playoffs. They're saying that all 4 teams have a chance at making the playoffs.
They do. They really do.
They really do have a chance.
I completely agree. Because, the Chargers, everyone's super high on them. And the talent speaks for itself. The Raiders as well. The Broncos, as I mentioned, they do have a running game as well. You have Javonte Williams and you also have Melvin Gordon, those 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even
Let's see how that goes.
The Chiefs aren't. They're not even safe right now.
That's the thing. I was
That's
just
the
going to
thing.
say, if someone surprises us, it's probably going to be the Chiefs mostly. Because, like, let's say the Raiders miss the playoffs, you won't be surprised. Let's say somebody else misses the playoffs, you won't be surprised.
Yeah.
But if the Chiefs miss the playoffs, that's a shocker for some people. So it could happen. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday, and any year could not be your year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, guys. So with my next pick, I know he's a little bit high up here, but I really do think it's a new era out in Carolina. So my next pick is going to be DJ Moore, who came in top 15 in both receptions and yards last year. And they didn't have Baker. It's the new Baker era. I think he's going to be the starting quarterback in Carolina. And DJ Moore is set to score at least 10 touchdowns, man. So I really think he's going to get him the ball. Baker Mayfield has redemption in his eyes. He has something to prove. They disposed of him like a rag doll out in Cleveland for Deshaun Watson. And he's coming after blood. He took it looks like he took Sam Darnold's job. He's going to be QB1 and he's going to put up stats, man. I think that if he does not, Baker Mayfield might end up being a backup or somewhere in the XFL with The Rock. But I think he's going to put up work. I really don't think that's going to happen. He's going to, reassume himself as a starting QB out there, and he's going to get DJ the ball.
Okay. I like that.
I like that pick, man. He had 93 receptions last year with who?
1,100 yards.
Yeah, man.
Look at that. Yeah. And not only that, you're going to find out. You're going to find out immediately in week 1 if DJ Moore is going to be Baker's guy, because that's the best revenge game of the first month of the NFL. Browns versus Panthers. So you're going to find out immediately whether that's going to be his go-to guy or not. Not a bad pick if you want to see quick dividends.
Yeah, let's see what they do, because I know they got a couple running backs, Christian McCaffrey and Chuba Hubbard. I don't know if Baker's the answer, but we do have some Baker believers out there. They believe that he could take a job here and be a starter for a couple of weeks. Because Darnold's still going to put up a fight. So regardless of who the quarterback is, we know DJ Moore is going to ball, and we know Robbie Anderson is not a number 1. He'll probably catch some
not
bombs.
Even number 3.
He's not a number 1 yet, definitely. So I let DJ Moore is that solidified number 1 for the Panthers.
Yo, by the way, so I'm looking at DJ Moore's stats right now from week 1 all the way to week 7. This guy was putting up good numbers. He had 15, 21, 20, 31, and then he started dropping a little bit, but that upside is there. Just by the first 4 weeks.
Right. That's when Darnold stopped.
Darnold got. Yeah, I think he had gotten hurt. I think they started off 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Yeah.
No, they were 2-2. They were like 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, I think they started like 2-0, and then they went 2-2.
That's right.
And then they
it's definitely going to be a carousel out there. Like a little frustrating out there in Carolina in the beginning until the helm is being solidified. But yeah, speaking about frustrating players, my next pick, man, this guy is a beast, produces. But he's frustrating at times because, like every now and then he'll get like a little minor injury that keeps him out or cuts him off his production. But I got Tampa Bay's Mike Evans at 13. This man put 74 receptions, nothing too crazy for an elite receiver.
But he's catching bombs.
He caught 14 touchdowns, bro.
Right.
That was third or second most in the league for receivers last year. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he'll give you some weeks where he'll give you 7 to 10 points, but then next week he'll give you 35 because he caught 2 touchdowns in the fourth and the third.
Bro. He's that guy. I remember a couple picks ago, I disagreed with one of the picks. I think it was A.J. Brown. And I just said, my thing was, I just disagreed with it because I just haven't seen it before and the playing style. In Tampa Bay, we know they're throwing that rock. And we know who the number 1 receiver is. Even if Chris Godwin got a nice, healthy contract, we know who that number 1 receiver is catching bombs.
It's Evans. It's Evans.
Mike Evans been doing it for a long time, and I think he'll continue to have at least a decent year before he falls off.
I expect more catches in 74, especially with Gronk being gone, Brady's favorite target. I think Evans is going to see anywhere between 85 to 95 targets. I'm going to say he did 1,000 last year. I give him 1,200 this year. I don't know about the 14 touchdowns, but I'll say 10 to keep it double digits.
Okay.
Mike Evans as an owner, sometimes he becomes a little frustrating to watch. You know, this guy, he gets tackled. You know, it could be anything. A little tackle, and all of a sudden he's like limping. And to be honest, you know, I think he just does it on purpose, man. Because he'll be limping, and the very next play he goes deep, and there it is. You know, 40-yard catch on someone.
It works,
and it works. It works. I mean,
it worked its way to 14 touchdowns.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah,
so
I think
that's
another player.
And you don't think, of course, Tom Brady probably he's the one that tells him. You know, like Tom Brady has in his resume, you know, the deflating the footballs. So he probably tells him, "Hey, fake the injury, let's go."
Allegedly,
yeah.
Way.
Those are some serious allegations.
He paid a fine, so he knows he's guilty of something.
No, with the tampering with the Miami Dolphins, let's go.
That too.
So what you're saying is he's not done cheating.
Yeah, it's funny how Tom Brady retired,
There's multiple scandals,
and then he came back.
Yeah.
All right, so with the 14th pick, who you got, X?
14th pick, I'm going to take a guy. I'm going to take a chance on him. And we know who's the best tight end in the league. And, you know, his best receiver just signed a 1-year deal. I'm taking Juju Smith-Schuster, taking a chance on him. I consider it a little bit early.
High upside.
I like it a little early, but I think he's one of those players. He could get, 10 touchdowns, like we said, with the previous pick. I think he could get 80 receptions. He could get something around that range, even as a number 1 receiver or as a number 2 option for Patty. You know, we'll see what he does. I think he could ball out this year.
Dang.
We'll see.
So far, everybody except for me has picked a high risk, high reward player. And Jerry with AJ Brown. Danny with Sutton, and now you with Juju. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of his best opportunities. We all know he played with Big Ben, towards the ending stages of his career. His one of his best years was his early year when he still had Antonio as a teammate. And then Antonio switched it up on him at the end of the year, or they did something to each other. Maybe he was doing too many TikToks. But I think now he's a little bit more comfortable. Now he might be doing some TikToks with Patrick Mahomes' brother. They get a little bit more chemistry. He gets the family closer. He gets the family closer. We can see what's up. They can make their own TikToks, and maybe he could have some more touchdowns. If it works out, hey, it works.
Hey man, time will tell. Let's see. Right now,
but I think this kind of goes with Kyler Murray and the whole Call of Duty. As soon as Juju started doing TikToks, he just declined. I would have put in that contract. I would have put in that contract. No TikToks. You gotta delete that.
No shit. TikTok videos.
No TikToks.
More playbook.
These 20-year-olds they're a little different from.
And he's young. That's the thing. At the end of the day, he's like 25, 26, or even younger. 24.
They're babies.
Yeah.
He's a pro. He's a pro, and he's ready to win now. Now he's ready to win.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So I mentioned. As far as Mike Williams, I know when you guys were talking about Keenan Allen, you mentioned he's a big body. I think the bigger body there is Mike Williams. This guy's a huge guy. We mentioned as far as DK Metcalf, and a couple of years ago, he used to be that kind of player. He would just 40-yard bomb. But last year, he started showing signs of not only is he catching the bombs, but he's catching touchdowns. So I think this year he's just going to explode with it. He's going to actually, in my opinion, this guy is going to be the number 1 leading forward, for the Chargers. Okay. So I'm going to go with Mike Williams.
I like that hot take. You want to tell me why? Because he came through for me heavy last year. He had more touchdowns than Keenan Allen.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, he did.
He had 9 and Keenan Allen had 6. And he had 76 receptions and he still put up 1,000 yards. The Chargers had 2 1,000-yard receivers. Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah, they have a duo.
And I know that Mike Williams, he showed a lot of booms, in his games. Keenan Allen, he gives you that solid floor, but Mike Williams is that touchdown kind of guy. He gets a lot of touchdowns last year, and I think this year as well.
That's going to be a hot pick, bro. He's going to see cornerback 2 week in, week out. So yeah, most definitely, good pick.
All right, so with my next pick, I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney. And I think he's going to do a lot of work out there in Chicago, even though he didn't come in as a top 10 in stats.
I'm trying to find Darnell Mooney.
And you
Yo,
know,
I'm on roll.
he
like
got
that,
jokes.
so
He got
Casey.
jokes. Hold up. Before we get
Booty.
into all of that, he
Sleeper.
had 81
No,
touches,
tell me, tell
1,000
me.
yards, guys. What he was missing was the touchdowns. And now that Justin Fields is going to get behind him, I think he's going to put up some more touchdowns this year. But his fantasy stats were pretty decent, bro. I mean, you're talking about, if you're in a PPR league, that's 81 points just in reception, plus the yardage. If he can get his touchdowns up, I think he's going to do a lot of work. He's averaging 13 yards a catch. If he can get down the field and they can get the ball to him, I think he's going to do a lot of work. So, you know, at 16, top 16 receiver, I got Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, man.
Not bad.
No, and also the fact that Justin Fields, he came out and said that he's like, oh, a lot of these wide receivers that I'm playing with can't even make the LSU team, and you know he's got to prove otherwise. You know, it's like Darnell Mooney is a talent. He's a talent there in Chicago.
The talent is there. Let's see if the production plays out like that. Speaking about productions, you don't got to worry about this with my next pick. At 17, I have the second 1,000-yard receiver on the same team. Cincinnati's T. Higgins.
Oh, great pick.
That's right. That's right. And
nice
duel. And not only that, I'm a little upset that he's dropped down a little, you know, like this much. But, you know, considering the names that we have said before, you know, it's a big pool. It's a big pool of talent. I got T. Higgins right here. He had 74 receptions last year with 1,000, just barely breaking 1,000 yards at 1,091. But he got 6 touchdowns, and most of them came towards the end of the season. So there's a back end to him, but you can't go wrong with all those receptions and the yards. He gets yaks, and like I said before, he's seen cornerback too. And this man, if it wasn't for Jamar Chase, he's 1. On any other team, he's a 1.
Yeah.
I think that's the benefit that Cincinnati has right now. I think they're in a great position. They got superstars on their team, superstar quarterback, superstar wide receivers, superstar running back. I mean, you know, they need to get to the promised land, but the only team that is in their way right now is the Rams. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Or if not, it's Buffalo. So, but Cincinnati is stacked in my opinion.
Round. I see them losing divisional round this upcoming playoffs. No AFC Championship game.
But how many people thought that the Bengals were going to beat the Chiefs last year? No.
How many people thought they were going to go to playoffs? Nobody had that shit.
Not even Bengals fans thought that.
I want to hear somebody say, "I said it. I call you a liar. you was a lying motherfucker."
All right, with the 18th pick, who you got, X?
I'm taking Deontay Johnson. I think he had a great year. I think he's one of those players that, you know, you may not see week in, week out with one of the best weeks, but he's consistent. You know, he's great in the end zone. He's not the biggest target, but he's catching touchdowns. You know, we know that they have a rookie QB in Kenny Pickett. Who knows what he's going to do? Regardless of who's the QB, Deontay Johnson's going to get some bombs thrown his way. And hopefully they're on point, and he can get you some solid points, you know?
Yeah, you're right. 8 touchdowns, not bad. Almost to the double digits. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's around that range, to 6 to 8 touchdowns. He could get 1,000 yards or maybe 800 yards, at least 60, 70 catches. He's one of those players.
Oh, my God. He had 107 receptions.
Yes. What do you think he did last year? He had a great season, even if Big Ben was, you know, not the greatest, we know. But
he was fantasy consistent.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett might put up the same type of numbers, and like they might have a losing season, but Deontay Johnson's going to get the ball thrown his way. He had 100 receptions before we take some crazy picks above this guy. You know, he's solid.
Yeah. He's wide receiver 1 over there. Okay, right. Solid. Good pick at 18.
Yo, and also going back to Deontay Johnson, he didn't have many drops last year. Coming from the year before that, he had a lot of drops.
That's right. He was my line. That's right.
That's kind of like Jamar Chase. Same thing happened with him, and then all of a sudden, you know, they just exploded the very next year or that same year.
Because they also have Claypool. They
had Claypool as well.
Yeah, but what is, you know, is he the wide receiver 1? You know, I don't know if he.
Deontay Johnson is a man there. He's a man.
Shit, I got to scroll down and see Claypool on my list.
Next pick.
With my next pick, I got Michael Pittman.
Ooh, the Colts guy. Nice.
one thing about me is that I'm very into like the weather. You know, I look at like crazy stats that other people don't really look at. And I feel like the Colts, you know, they had that advantage all year round. You know, they play indoors. It's funny because T.Y. Hilton, whenever he played indoors, this man blew up. You know, his home to road games were just, you know, that those splits were insane. You know, he would ball out at home and then he would just not perform on the road. And I think Michael Pittman, as a person that he plays indoors, um, and also with the addition of Matt Ryan, which is I'm sorry, Jerry, but he's so much better than Carson Wentz, even at this age. So I think that Michael Pittman could really do damage this year. So that's going to be my next pick.
That's a good pick, bro.
You got a great point there because you know, as everybody knows, Danny, he is definitely the expert weatherman in our league. He'll tell you, you know, which way the wind is blowing, and if there's a thunderstorm coming 3 weeks from now, and if the kicker broke his leg, and if his leg is hurting when it's raining, you know what I mean? You know, I think that's a great point to make. You know, indoor ball players definitely have that advantage. They just suffer a little bit when they're on the road, and perhaps they end up in a place that's really cold or really hot. But yeah, the indoor play is definitely an advantage for him to ball out, and I think that's gonna make a big difference out there, especially for the old guy, you know, Matt Ryan out there. You know how these old guys get under the weather. And you know, they should do work. They should do work. I like that pick, Danny. For my next pick, you know, I'm gonna keep it. I might be drafting him a little high, but you know, I really do think he's gonna be the difference maker later in the season. And the reason why I say that is because his starting quarterback is suspended for the first 6-7 games of the season. So I'm gonna go with Amari Cooper. He has a brand new home in Cleveland. As you know, they shipped him out of Dallas, and you know, they probably didn't treat him too well out there. He put up 800 yards, 68 receptions, and 8 touchdowns. Whether that's Dak's fault or not, you know, CeeDee Lamb, the rookie last year or the year before, you know, took his numbers, took his slots, man. You know, let's be real. He interrupted his stats, but now he has a new home and he has Deshaun Watson under the gun. You know, as you guys know, he has to serve a suspension, you know, for this upcoming season, perhaps starting as far as week 1. That's if he doesn't get suspended for the rest of the season or for the year, like Roger Goodell is asking. But in either way, I think Amari Cooper is a WR1 out in Cleveland, and whoever they choose to pick as a starting quarterback, I'm hearing a lot of rumors about Jimmy G heading to Cleveland, perhaps starting Jacoby Brissett. And giving him that time that he deserves. I know he did some work in Dolphins, you know, Miami last year. I'm not sure if you're too happy about that, Bones, but you know, Amari Cooper, he's gonna do work. I think he's a top 20 receiver regardless, and he's gonna do, you know, put up about the same amount of stats he did in Dallas.
Yeah, man.
I agree with that. I mean, yeah, like he is definitely going to pay. You know, he's going to pay off during the second ladder of the season. He has a big body. The talent is there. And if Watson is still anything of his previous self, he's going to ball out. It is Cleveland, but he is going to ball out.
Facts. Two wide receiver one.
So moving forward, we're going to go ahead and talk about the second tier wide receivers. And I believe, Santana, you got the 21st pick.
I do. And for the first pick, right, for the second tier wide receivers, is a player that I believe is going to go and ascend into the starter roles for the next year. But right now, I'm going with Miami owns Jalen Waddle. Boyer here is a beast, a route running monster with 104 receptions last year as a rookie, breaking Anquan Bolden's record that stood for a long time, over 1,000 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns. Now, with Tyreek Hill now in the fold, he's going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups with second cornerbacks. This man is going to eat. I don't see 104 receptions in this upcoming season. I say it's going to drop significantly around the 80s, but I feel touchdowns are going to go up, so is the yardage, because of all the attention that's going to be paid down to Cheetah in the field. You can't go wrong with him, because him and Tua, with the bond they built last year, and obviously as his go-to guy, he has a better rapport than he does with Tyreek, so he's going to get the ball constantly. Right. And especially in McDaniel's new offense, he's also been seen in certain videos to take handoffs. So now you could add a couple of rushing statistics to it. Surefire on you can't pick it, can miss. Jalen Waddle.
I like that pick.
Yeah, me too.
Cool pick. I just don't know if he's going to keep that same production, especially in the slot. For my next pick, I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. I think he's one of those guys that it doesn't matter who's his quarterback. He's going to get targets. He's going to get catches. He's going to make the improbable happen. It doesn't matter what happens. He can play on the inside. He can play on the outside. I think he's going to be the best receiver for Washington, and Carson Wentz. We'll see how they develop that passing game.
Yeah, you're right. He's their number one option, and he's definitely going to get it. He had 1,000 receiving yards with less than 80 receptions.
Mind you, he was putting up those numbers with Higbee, as their quarterback. So right. I'm sure no matter what, Tyler Higbee. So I can only imagine, with Carson Wentz being the quarterback, he should have, an uptick in receptions, touchdowns, I would say, for sure. So solid pick.
That's a good pick. Solid pick.
Absolutely.
With my next pick, I'm actually gonna go with this could be a questionable player that maybe he could have been even a little bit sooner. But the thing is, in the offense, a lot of mouths to feed. Also, he's just coming back from a torn ACL. I'm gonna go with Chris Godwin. So Chris Godwin.
Ooh, okay.
Chris Godwin so he played a total of 14 games last year. He put up at least 10 fantasy points in 11 out of the 14. So, he was solid. This guy, he has that solid floor, but then he also has that high upside. And, knowing how Tom Brady utilizes his slot receivers, Chris Godwin he actually plays the slot. And, Tom Brady loves his slot wide receivers. So I would say that he can even his upside is even higher than where I'm picking him.
No, you're right. Yeah, he had more catches than Mike Evans, who's clearly the wide receiver one on that team.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Yeah, I just question whether he can stay healthy or not. Both him and Mike Evans, and that's why they got Julio as backup now. But the guy's a bullet. There's no doubt about it. He gets his stats up there, and I don't think Brady should have a problem with his receiving core. He's probably gonna have more trouble in his running game.
Yeah, especially losing Ronald Jones, but they still have Leonard Fournette there. That team could score just flat out. 30 points, 40 points sometimes. So a lot of mouths to feed, but they're gonna put up their points.
That is AKA Tank Johnson.
Yeah.
So with my next pick, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Hunter Renfrow. I think he's gonna be another solid contributor out there in Vegas. I'm hot on Vegas. It's gonna be a little bit of the same thing. I know Devontae Adams is gonna cut into his production. He got 100 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns last season. So he was a very nice fantasy pickup, an unexpected fantasy pickup as well. Because he had that's a pretty much a breakout season to me. Even though he wasn't, too far high in the yardage, but he's gonna contribute, guys. He's gonna pick up whatever Waller leaves behind, and he's hot in Vegas.
Okay. And he built that chemistry with Derek Carr. He already has that, something, that Devontae Adams still. I understand that they played together, in college, but they gotta spend some time together, playing.
Can't believe he was still available. What a baller. I had him last year. Great pickup for me. Came through a lot. Practically was their wide receiver one for some point throughout the season.
And I'm sure you had a great campaign last year. I remember picking him up on the free agency.
On the waivers. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. That's not a player that you drafted.
Yeah, definitely not somebody I drafted.
I didn't draft him last year, but this year he's definitely getting drafted within the first, I would say, 8 rounds easily.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
So for my next pick in the second tier round, all right, it's a guy who broke out when he first came out, but injuries have pushed him out a little bit. Plus the quarterback carousel that they had out up there north in Denver. Got Jerry Jeudy, star.
That's a great pickup.
Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be an upside to him, low risk pick because, he's finally healthy. He's been showing it all off season. and he has Russell Wilson throwing him the rock now. And yeah, you can point at his stats and say, oh, okay, less than 500 yards, 38 receptions, 0 touchdowns. Yeah, he played in 6 games, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, the talent over there was trash. So now that we got Russell, he's definitely going to put up stats. I'm calling for about 70 receptions after a year of injury, almost 1,000 yards, but I want to say 6 touchdowns.
Okay, that's a nice one. For my next pick, I'm going to go with a sleeper. He's a true sleeper because I don't think he'll even go this high in our round. But I just think ranking-wise, I think he can have a great campaign. I'm going to take Gabe Davis. I like him tag Stephon Diggs. I understand Stephon Diggs is the number 1 by a long shot on that team. However, I think Gabe Davis, he has some targets coming to him this year. With the departure of Cole Beasley, with the departure of Emmanuel Sanders, reconfirmed, Gabe Davis is going to get a lot more targets this year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. And maybe we'll see how he follows up with that 3 or 4 touchdown campaign he had in the playoffs against the Chiefs last year when he was on fire. He was just catching bombs for touchdowns. So I think he has a lot of high upside. He could have a couple games where he plays bad, but I think the high upside is there where he could go off for about 30 points in a week. It's there. Gabe Davis is my pick.
Not bad. Yeah, you're right. With those departures, he's definitely going to see more targets definitely coming his way.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Got gunslinger Josh Allen out there. Oh, that's good. Good pick.
So, guys, with my next pick, I'm actually in shock as well that this guy was still on the board. First, these are players that back in the day, they were top 5 wide receivers. And I feel like everyone's sleeping on Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas in 2019, he actually led the league in, fantasy points for wide receivers. And he led it by 100 fantasy points. And the next person was Chris Godwin. Okay. And that's another thing, he has that solid floor. I understand. Yeah. Back then he played with Drew Brees. Now he's playing with Jameis Winston. But another thing that you have to take into consideration is that Jameis Winston, he was putting up numbers in Tampa Bay. Also their opponents, they're going to be playing against Tampa Bay. They're going to be playing against the Panthers, and they're also going to be playing against Atlanta. So, he's going to put up huge numbers. And I would even say that he could be a top 10 wide receiver this year. And another thing is that he is healthy. That's what, people are saying, that he's kind of healthier.
I think Michael Thomas. Go ahead, X. Go ahead.
You said, I'm sorry. You said the number 2 receiver was Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin in 2019.
And who was his quarterback?
That was
Jermaine.
Yeah, that was Jameis Winston.
So now who's true. Mike Thomas's quarterback?
There it is, Jameis Winston.
So now he could be a top 5.
Mind you, now Jameis Winston, he's wearing his contacts.
Exactly.
I know. Back then he didn't wear his contacts.
Exactly. Lazy Jameis.
Yeah, I think if Michael Thomas stays healthy, man, I think they're gonna have an outstanding situation out there in New Orleans, because this is gonna be Jameis' second wind, a second opportunity after the last rough couple years. So Michael Thomas, if he can stay healthy, then he can make big things happen, bro.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait to see it.
I like your analogy on that, Danny.
Appreciate it, man.
With my next pick, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Allen Robinson. Just because he's in a new situation. I know he didn't put great stats up last year, but I just believe in his new situation, he's gonna have some backup stats to come with it. I think he's gonna double his stats. He only had 400 yards, about 38 touches, and a single touchdown. But let's be real, his situation wasn't very good. And I'm expecting him to have a breakout season, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, anything is an upgrade. When he back then when he was playing with the Bears.
Mitch Trubisky. Wow.
That's rough.
So he's going from Mitch Trubisky to
Stafford.
Fields to
Stafford. Man.
All right.
That's a big upgrade.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good sleeper pick.
But I would say their coach, Matt Nagy, he had a lot to do with it too. I don't know what plays he was calling there.
That too.
That was just a bad situation. You really didn't want anyone on that team except for maybe David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Maybe if you got him late, but that was a team everyone was kind of staying away from. but now he has Stafford as QB, of course, as we know. So he's definitely going to, try to turn it around this year, especially alongside Cooper Kupp. Try to repeat.
Okay. All right, for my next pick, I have somebody from a forgotten team. This man plays in a wasteland. Regardless of that fact, put up stats. I got Houston, Brandon Cooks. This man got 90 receptions last year, over 115 targets.
Wow.
So he doesn't miss much. A thousand receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. Yeah.
Who's
so
the starting quarterback in Houston now, man?
Davis Mills.
Yo, that guy,
that long neck guy.
That guy's neck.
The long neck guy, the giraffe.
Yo, that's a giraffe,
sleeping?
bro.
You're sleeping? Oh, you're sleeping. Oh, you're sleeping.
They got Littlefoot out there.
Well, let's see, man.
Hey, man, look, regardless of what quarterback is out there, Brandon Cooks is wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 for the Texans.
Yeah.
So if you want somebody there to match up with your wide receiver 1, right, and you still picking there, Brandon Cooks is a good number 2 option, maybe 3.
I almost forgot the Texans were still in the league, bro.
Oh my God, right? Like ridiculous.
I hate the Texans, man. Well, my next pick, I'm gonna go with a former Texan. I'm gonna go with the God. If we're gonna bring the clocks back, we're gonna get Allen Robinson and Mike Thomas and Brandon Cooks. I'm gonna just take Hopkins. I'm gonna take DeAndre Hopkins, the former Texan.
It sounded like it. That's a risk.
I don't care if he's suspended a few games. His upside is way too high. When he's on the field, this guy is 20 points and above. I don't want to hear it. He is the number 1 target in Arizona. Let Kyler go off. I think they're going to be a run-heavy team early on in the year. And then as Hopkins come back, they're just going to air it out. And we're going to see stats like he hasn't skipped a beat. That's one of the best receivers in the NFL through and through. And I'll take Hopkins even with a 6-game suspension at about this rank right here.
Ballsy, boy.
Ballsy. I mean, I agree. I mean, with my next pick, I'm actually taking his teammate, but Marquise Brown. But while you're going to be struggling to actually make the playoffs, because you went ahead and you decided to get DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going to be there with Marquise Brown. Living the dream. And then I'm gonna hit you up. Like, hey, let me trade for this man. Hey, I'll give you whatever you want. But Marquise Brown, Kyler Murray last year in the first 5 games, he was actually QB number 1. This guy was putting up monster numbers. I agree. Of course, DeAndre Hopkins, great pickup. But the next guy up, while DeAndre Hopkins is actually suspended, is going to be Marquise Brown. He got paid guaranteed money, $13 million. He's going to be putting up numbers. And also, mind you, he was able to, succeed with Lamar Jackson as his quarterback. And now he's got an upgrade in Kyler Murray.
Absolutely. I like this combo.
But talent-wise, I'm going to say DeAndre Hopkins. He should be maybe a top 10 wide receiver for sure. Top even 5.
Yeah, when he's on the field week to week.
Exactly. The only concern is, his suspension.
Right.
My next pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick DK Metcalf. He put up great numbers last year, although his quarterback situation right now is a little bit tricky. They say Geno Smith is leading the quarterback charge out there, and they're not too sure about Drew Lock. But I still expect DK to team up with Tyler and be able to put up some good numbers. You know what I mean? He did 75 catches, 900 yards, and 12 TDs last year. So that's a very, very good performance considering he still had Russell Wilson. But let's see what he does this year. I think he's still a solid pickup. Somebody perhaps to put as their W2 or maybe W3 receiver, perhaps have him on the bench for later. But he's a good pickup, guys.
Solid. Yeah. He's a beast. He's definitely going to put that out. Speaking about people that are going to be force-fed the ball like DK Metcalf is going to be, my next pick is going to be a guy who's jumped from wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 1 overnight, and he has the GOAT throwing at him. Got Green Bay Lazard.
Yeah, man.
Coming in. So he's definitely jumping up for a possible flex option to a third receiver for a solid number 2. Straight up. He got 8 touchdowns last year. as an afterthought. So this year as number one, yeah, I see he might break into the double digits in touchdowns. Is he going to get 1,000 yards? I don't know. That will be a double output of what he did last year: 40 receptions, 513 yards, 8 touchdowns. Though I want to say his man's going to catch 12 to 13 touchdowns, maybe 900 yards receiving. Good, solid wide receiver 2 option.
I like him. I like that pick a lot too. But when you say Aaron Rodgers and GOAT in the same sentence, you have to say regular season as well. You cannot say GOAT and Aaron Rodgers without saying regular season, and it's been defined. I like that pick as well. But with my next pick, I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman. You know, we all know Lamar is not the biggest passer in the NFL. He's not, they're not the pass-heavy team. They are a run-heavy team. He's going to be running the ball left and right. But his main guy next year, the guy filling in for Hollywood, I think is going to be Rashad Bateman. We know they have Mark Andrews, a big target as a tight end, and their number one receiver this year is going to be Rashad going into the year. You know, he's going to have that he's going to have an impact that, when they do decide to throw the ball, he's going to have to go deep. He has to be that deep threat for this team in order for them to succeed, and I think they will.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and actually there was a lot of hype, towards Rashad Bateman last year, during the preseason. But unfortunately, he got hurt. And I believe, he was out of a couple games. I think it was like 6 games around there. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of hype for him. With my next pick, I'm going to go with hold on, give me 1 second. So this is a team that there's a lot of question marks, Seattle. I'm going with Tyler Lockett. The talent is there, but once again, that QB situation, as Jerry mentioned, it's a lot of question marks, but the upside is there, man. Tyler Lockett, he Team Virgin. I believe he didn't lose his virginity until recently. But or maybe he's still a virgin. I'm not. Yeah, but
congratulations to that man.
Yeah, and but that's gonna be as a Tyler Lockett owner, it's very frustrating, to have him on your team, because he has a lot of boom and bust type of games. That's how he is. But at the end of the day, he ends up those boom and bust. He ends up top 15. So for sure, you're gonna win when he booms.
Okay, all right. Can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I think Tyler Lockett should team up with DK and
right out.
And right out. I mean,
yeah,
they can help each other out if he can stay healthy. Depends who the quarterback is going to be, but he's a good pickup. I think they'll be a great team together for another year to come. With my next pick, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pick Robert Woods because he might as well be the WR1 out of Tennessee. 45 receptions, 500 yards, and 4 touchdowns last year. And that, that for sure will change this year because they have absolutely nobody out in Tennessee. And, they have Ryan Tannehill on a short leash. I'm not sure that they can, make a long shot to the playoffs, but at least, Robert Woods can give you some solid production in fantasy, especially in PPR leagues. Expect him to double his receptions, baby.
Yeah, who else do they have on that team as a receiver? Is that the only guy?
I know that they have a rookie that they just drafted that they're really high on.
High on him?
Yeah. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, they probably got a rookie or two because they let go of everybody. They let go of Julio. Yeah. Brown got traded for some peanuts. Like, I don't know what Tennessee's doing. I guess maybe.
Okay.
They didn't want to.
It's Traylon Burks.
Oh, Traylon Burks,
yeah, Traylon Burks.
Yeah, I know what that is, but
he looks good. Let's see. Tannehill could throw the ball to him too.
Not Trey. Hey, not Trey Burks. Not Trey Burks from the NBA.
Not Trey Burks.
Yeah, there's more players than just on the Dolphins, bro. There's more in it. No, I was just saying that we know that team revolves around Derrick Henry.
Yeah, man.
That's one of those teams that they live and die with him. So if something happens to that guy, that team is over.
Yeah.
And, I really stay away from teams like that are so running back heavy. So I wouldn't be taking Robert Woods so high or the rookie so high. I'll just stay away from the entire team altogether. Certain teams like that are just a red flag to me. But, that's just my opinion on that situation.
Clearly, I have something about these forgotten teams. I like to find little gems and teams that people don't think about. Detroit is one of them. And I got my boy St. Brown out there, who, like I said, is in the same situation as Brandon Cooks in Houston. This man is wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. 90 receptions, 900 yards, 5 TDs. A good solid wide receiver 3 to pick up if you have about 3 receivers on your roster. It's a good guy to be number 2 or number 3. Can't go wrong with him. The production is there. It may not be sexy. You may not like it. You may not even heard of him, but the stats are there.
No, I like that pick a lot, but I'm actually going to take his teammate with the next pick. I'm going to switch my original rankings because he hasn't been taken yet. And you just brought to my attention that DJ Chark is still on the board.
Ooh, so that's right. That's right.
His teammate, DJ Chark.
New team.
Play the song.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick him. You know, he had some great games last year and got hurt, but now he got a nice contract. It reminds me of kind of the Allen Robinson situation, which happened in Jacksonville as well, that he went out to the Bears. Okay. You know, he's a great player. He just has been in an unfortunate situation. And I think that's going to be the same thing with DJ Chark. He can put up some great games. It's just going to be an unfortunate situation at the end of the day because, as we know, the Detroit Lions don't go very far in that division. It's all going to be settled with the Packers and Minnesota. So I like DJ Chark having a few good games and competing with some of the other teams in that division. But, you know, that's just one of those picks I'm just going to throw as a sleeper. I'm not going early on him. But if he falls to you at the right spot, DJ Chark's a solid pick.
Not bad. Okay. All right.
Man. Yeah, and actually, Detroit, I remember last year that they were putting up, points on the board. Yeah, they lost games, but they were putting up numbers, which really surprised everyone. So with my next pick, I got MVS, Marcus Valdez-Scantling. There's been a lot of rumors, that Sky Moore, the rookie that they drafted, he's kind of built like a running back. He has like big quads, like kind of like, I wouldn't say like Saquon kind of thing, but he's a wide receiver. But in this case, I am taking experience. I'm taking experience first. What we know. I know that he didn't do as good while he was with Aaron Rodgers, but he did show some sort of upside. And at the end of the day, you're playing with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, so the upside is there. So that's gonna be my next pick.
All right, solid. You're right. He got Patty.
So with my next pick, I'm gonna go with my guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick Devonta Smith. He did a solid performance last year, 64 touches, 900 yards, and 5 touchdowns. They didn't have much of a receiving core last year. He basically put on a lot of the work, and then Jalen Hurts was running the ball. But this year should be a different story. I think him and A.J. Brown will team up and put up a lot of numbers to save Jalen Hurts' legs. And for the most part, I think it should be a good pickup in the later rounds. Should be a good PPR contributor, man.
Yeah, man. Agreed.
Okay. That's good. That's a great pick to close out the second tier wide receivers here. Now, here comes the sleepers, all right? And this man shouldn't be in the sleeper round. But because of the unknown, because it is the team that it is, right? I'm glad he's still available because this is a steal for anybody. All right, welcome to the sleeper steal round, fellas. So for my first pick here, I got Christian Captain Kirk. Now, why did he fall so low? This man's in Jacksonville. All right, black hole, one of the many black holes in the NFL, along with Detroit, Houston. But I don't want to hear it. But now, he got sunshine. He's got sunshine. Now, I know Sunshine didn't, show much last year. It was a shit show out there. It was a circus fire with Urban Meyer running at the helm. But now it's a little different. The reports out there is at the camp, the mood, everything has turned around. With Doug Peterson, former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, that led them to a Super Bowl. So now Sunshine is paired up with a great offensive mind, and I think Christian Kirk can only benefit from that. Last year, he put up 982 yards, and this man came through for me because I had him on the squad. 5 touchdowns, moderate, nothing too crazy, not sexy, but I feel like that number's only going to go up over there in Jacksonville because he's possibly wide receiver 1 or 2 over there.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a bounce back player out there in Jacksonville. I like what you mentioned with Doug Peterson. He's an offensive genius, in my opinion. he's gonna do well with Trevor Lawrence out there, as you like to call him, Sunshine.
Sunshine.
He's no Kyler Murray, but he still got to prove his way through the NFL. So it should be a good a good pickup. Interesting to see as a sleeper.
He got
Let's
paid.
not forget Hopkins was out for a couple games last year, and that led Kirk to get some of those number one targets for a few of those games. So I think his stats might be a little bit inflated, but he is stepping into that DJ Chark role, and Trevor Lawrence has a lot to show us. So I think he's bound to have a bounce back year.
That's why he fell. That's why Christian Kirk fell down this low, and like I said, he's going to be a sleeper/steal for anybody.
Sleeper. My next guy has to be a sleeper because he has, how many stats he had last year? He had 0 catches, he had 0 receptions, and he had 0 yards because this guy was a rookie last year. So his name is Drake London. That's going to be my next pick. I like this rookie from Atlanta. I think he has a lot to prove. He has high upside. He reminds me of a young Mike Evans. Doesn't really matter who's his quarterback. He's just going to go up and get the ball. He's a big target. He's a big kid. He's going to go up. He's going to make himself a name in this league. And I think he's going to start off year 1 hitting the ground running.
Okay. All right. I like that. High little take. And it is Atlanta. That division right there is going to be a Texas shootout. Everybody out there pretty much around their bottom tier teams, and they're going to go at it.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And do they still have Russell Gage there in Atlanta?
I believe he left.
I believe so.
Suspended the whole year.
I believe he left. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm not sure. So with my next pick, I'm actually I promise you that I'm not a Tampa Bay fan. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I keep going back to Tampa Bay, but I'm gonna go with Julio Jones. This is another throwback. This guy was putting up numbers throughout his entire career. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer for sure. But going back to Tampa Bay, they just feed the ball to everyone. I took a look at the stats that Antonio Brown was putting up last year, and he played a total of 6 games. And he put up at least 10 points as well, in 5 out of the 6 games. So Julio Jones, he's going to benefit from just having Tom Brady as his quarterback.
Hey, one thing I saw, Russell Gage is actually on the Bucs.
Oh, he's on the Bucs.
Russell Gage is on the Bucs.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think he's gonna. Julio Jones is the number 3 there.
Yeah.
Oh, and the only game that Antonio Brown didn't put up the 10 was when he retired, retired against the Jets.
Become a rapper, Rolling Loud rapper.
All right, guys. So with my next pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick my Pennsylvania counterpart over here, and I'm going to get with the Steelers and pick Chase Claypool. He's a tremendous pick as a sleeper. I think that if he can get his touchdown production up in Pittsburgh, he's going to be a great addition. He still managed to put up 800 receiving yards last year, 56 receptions. If he can get some touches in the end zone, man, I think he's going to be a great contributor, especially later on in the season. And we still got to see what's going to happen the post-Big Ben era. So, he's a great addition to your team, and especially in PPR. And, man, I think he's a great sleeper.
A player pretty much like Claypool himself, right? Who was a gem, a late fine gem last year. Not for myself, but for somebody that I dislike in my league. So that really popped out to me. Is San Francisco's Brandon Ayuk. This man balled out towards the end of the season. His route running got better. He learned how to read defenses, and he worked his way to 800 receiving yards. It's not bad. So for a sleeper, a little steal pick. If you're still looking at wide receivers and you see Brandon Ayuk, take him because this man gets the stats. Only saw 56 receptions, but he put up 800 yards. So it goes to show you that when he does get the ball, he shows out.
Yeah,
that's that pick. Exciting stuff coming out of San Francisco this year, especially since they re-signed Debo and they got a brand new quarterback out there ready to go.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. I like that pick though. I'll take Ayuk late, especially if I have a Debo or someone else. With my next pick, I'm gonna take Elijah Moore.
Nice.
I'm sure Not everyone is sold on any Jets quarterbacks at the moment, but he's one of those receivers that he's the wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, as we were saying for other players. He's that guy on the Jets. We thought they were going to trade for DK. We thought they were going to trade for Debo. They ended up drafting a first or second round receiver in Elijah Moore. Last year, he got some great catches, great targets. His floor was high. He was playing. He had some games where he was putting up 17, 23, 25 points. And I think he's going to look forward to a strong sophomore output his second season.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can't go wrong with that. In the sleeper round, can ask for more.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that guy could play. So I'm gonna go with actually Adam Thielen. A lot of people are really hyped up on Justin Jefferson this year. Of course, the hype is real. But I'm gonna go with his team as like a potential sleeper that a lot of people are actually sleeping on.
Right.
This man actually. So Justin Jefferson last year, he had a great year. He did catch 10 touchdowns. Adam Thielen has always throughout his career, been that touchdown kind of guy, and he actually matched what Justin Jefferson did last year with 10 touchdowns. The touchdown upside is always there, and at the end of the day, he has about a history with his quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
All right, okay, that's fine.
You like
how many touchdowns he had last year?
He had 10 touchdowns, and the year before, he was up there in touchdowns for sure.
That's good contribution.
He had 10 touchdowns last year.
10 touchdowns. And
this guy fell into our sleeper round.
Yep. A lot of people are sleepy on him.
Yeah, I'm not drafting last year. I'm drafting for next year. So.
All right, guys. So with my next pick, I'm gonna go with none other than the Saints' #1 draft pick this year, and that's Chris Olave. Although we don't have any stats on him, I think he's gonna be a great contributor to the new Saints, and I think he should be a nice new weapon for Jameis to throw the ball to. So I'm excited to see what he got in store. I know that he's been drafted so far in about 80% of fantasy leagues. So guys, don't sleep on this guy too much, but I do consider him a sleeper in the later rounds. So, especially if you're in PPR, look out for this guy.
Okay.
Good shit, man.
Who's not playing PPR? Let me know who are.
I know, for real.
Not playing PPR. At me, bro. Fight, man.
Yo, by the way, have you guys heard of fantasy football including punters?
Oh God!
What?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Oh wow! What are they betting? Net yards,
So I think the scoring is based on 50-yard punt, 5 points kind of thing, and I'm just like, nah.
There's a lot of leagues that get very intricate with their scoring system, and I can't wait till we have our fantasy league episode where we'll discuss further in detail how these leagues operate and the fun stuff that goes in the leagues, especially ours. So punting is a very interesting position. I don't think I would ever do that. We eliminated kickers completely off our league.
Yeah,
so
man.
I think we need an episode about how your reaction was when you took over as commissioner for college football and saw the point system I had set up. He was like, "What is?"
I was a judge and executioner of every transaction that ever went there.
I'll never forget. Jerry was like, "How does the defense put up points like a running back?" And I'm like, "Hey, man,
bro, defense is getting 75 points, so it doesn't matter." Yeah,
relax.
Defenses were getting 45 points a game. Defense.
Relax. No, 20. They were in the 20s. They were in the 20s.
A sack 5 points.
Look, man. I've always been a defensive minded. I've always been a defensive minded person. So when I got control, when I got voted as commissioner for college football, I was like, all right. So sacks, 4 points. Picks, 3 points. Pick six, that's a touchdown.
Wait,
right there.
how are you gonna tell me? How are you gonna tell me that a sack is worth more than a freaking pick?
Danny, this guy had a defense go off for 75 points. It says
points. It was ridiculous. Look, because that defense had 4 touchdowns that game.
Not Bones.
Yo, how much was a touchdown?
This guy's airtime.
It was
25 points a touchdown.
It was 6-7 points. Look, it's just like, look, this is my logic behind it. All right.
There's no logic. There's no logic.
You know, there's less than 5 games per year where like a defense really takes over. It's a rarity. It's like literally less than 1% of like shit that happens.
Bro,
Week
that didn't
one.
that didn't
Week
happen with
one.
the Patriots, bro. The Patriots, I think 2 years ago, bro, that team was putting up numbers. So I can
I'll
only
never
imagine.
forget it. X called and he goes, oh, "What the fuck is this shit? How did I lose because the defense scored 40 points?"
No, that was Johnny because it was his first year in the league, and he had Josh Allen or somebody go off, and it was week one that somebody went off for 70 points because an average defense was getting 10, 20 points.
Yeah,
but then
bro.
in their league, they were getting 10 sacks. So what's 9 sacks? They're getting points off sacks, throwing 2 interceptions. Now you got 80 points. Like, come on, bro.
It's crazy,
It was
crazy
wild.
stuff.
It was wild. Our points were definitely in the 300s, high 400s. Jay was like, "Hell no."
Bro, that shit you do in a free league, not in a league for
Yeah,
money.
bro, and something like that.
Yeah,
Yo,
go have fun. Go have fun.
Yo, it's funny
All
because
right, Santana, what's your next pick, man?
All right, so my second to last pick in the sleepers is a man who's a baller, right? I can't believe he dropped this low either, but because of the injury history to wide receiver ones and two in his team, respectfully, in Chase and in Higgins, right? They're bound and known to miss, nothing too crazy, 3, 4, couple games. But in those games, Tyler Boyd is gonna get the rock and he's gonna eat. That man is a stud. Not only that, but he also gets handoffs. So, like every now and then he'll mix it up in there with a couple of rushing stats. But I got at 49, I got Tyler Boyd. And this man is still available in your leagues. Get him. ASAP. 800 receiving yards. 800 receiving yards. Look, as a wide receiver 3, 67 receptions. Almost starter numbers for other people.
good, man.
Yeah, we might be expecting him, taking him this low.
We might be. There's a reason why I picked Chris Tucker out here. I was looking at some of these players. I was like, who's available?
Making these calls, baby.
Yeah, and I'm out here taking rookies, thinking, I'm going to be the first one to sniff up a Travis Kelce like I used to do.
That's my reaction. I'm like, X took Kelce in what round?
Champion, baby.
Throwing players into turmoil. I remember one year somebody, who was it? I think it was Richie. If not Richie, then it was X. This was like about 3 years back, and somebody took Patty in the second round, and people got nervous.
I think that might have been Caesar, man. He caused a huge disarray in the league, man.
It was like a second round pick, and we're like, what? And then
everybody started to panic, picking up quarterbacks left and right.
Yeah,
in the second round.
Got Rodgers.
That's usually what happens, bro. Like as soon as someone starts taking a tight end, people start panicking. The same thing happens with the quarterbacks. It's like I'm the type of person. Yeah, I'm the type of person. I wait for the later rounds. I'll get like a sleeper tight end kind of thing. But I mean, Travis Kelce's a wide receiver.
Yeah, man. But
yeah. Well, my next pick, I'm gonna take Michael Gallup. I think the Cowboys are in for a high-powered offense this year. We'll see if Dak could get the show on the road with CeeDee Lamb, but we all know they also have a tight end, Dallas Schultz, Dalton Schultz. They also have Zeke. They have the other running back. I forget his name, number 20.
Pollard.
Tony Pollard, of course. I think they can have a great little combo there, and I think Michael Gallup, we might be sleeping on him as well. I think he's one of those players. He could have 800 yards, on a quiet season with a few games that he can provide you some solid floor, So with a late round pick, he's available, even on free agency. If you realize you messed up on a couple picks on your draft, you're like, oh man, nobody really owns this one guy that I drafted. Let me cut him and let me pick up a Michael Gallup. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, man. No, and talent-wise, mind you, they don't have a Amari Cooper this year. So, it's Michael Gallup. His time to shine.
CD and Gallup.
All right, CD and Gallup. Washington, I believe, got injured. But,
Yeah, he did.
I can't, guys. I can't. I know the Cowboys aren't going to do a damn thing this year. Jerry Jones is going to be kicking himself for the ton of money he's paying Dak. Eagles up, baby.
Eagles.
Never. Never.
That concludes our sleeper round, guys. So
Bro,
we got the season. We got the season coming up in about 2 weeks. Getting ready for this fantasy league draft of ours on RFS.
Yes, sir.
We got the live lottery September 1st, 8 p.m. on IG, guys. Very exciting stuff. We got about 5 different leagues ready to draft. We're expected to have a $6,000 payout in our big leagues. Very professional, and I can't wait for our fantasy
episode.
Know
about that. You guys know about that. RMPR.
You guys know about this. So yeah, guys, that concludes our top 50 wide receivers list. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, drop a like, drop a comment, hit us up on IG, Raw Fantasy Sports, hit us up on Twitter as well, RFS Sports. And guys, what else is there left to do, man? We got the draft coming up in 2 weeks, and I know you guys are gonna kill it too, man.
Excited, guys.
I'm excited. You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited to tell everybody there's draft grades out here. All right, so we got Jerry here with a D-. We got X, we got F with an F+. We got Danny with a C+ because he tried very hard, and I obviously got an A- because I let some of you guys.
Hey, she's get degrees.
All right, guys, we're gonna catch you on the next episode. This is Raw Fantasy Sports. We out of here.